Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 60 of the Gametime Gents podcast. It is me, Nardi, here with Fish and Zoltowski. As always, boys, say hello.
Scumbag. That's what you are.
Whoa, hello, happy Halloween. Spooky time.
We have episode 60 here. It is week 9 preview. So if this is your first time here with us, we've done this for every week so far. We go through the news in the league. We go through the fantasy zeros, our fantasy heroes, our personal fantasy heroes, and then we give you a start of the week, and then we'll do a pick 'em at the end on who we think is going to win the games for the week 9 matchup here. So firstly, we do need to get into that news, and we do have some very sad injuries to cover. I'm going to talk about Patrick Surtain, PS2. He has a pectoral strain, and he's questionable for Sunday, but there are rumors out there he could land on injured reserve. So if he does that, he'll be missing 4 weeks. It really sucks for the Broncos because they are red hot right now. And, you don't want to lose your leader on defense. Just look at the 49ers right now. But it really would suck for the Broncos. But there's a couple more injuries to get into. Zoltowski, I'm going to let you talk about this one guy.
Yeah, I'm really upset about this one. Cam Scatabo, poor guy. I mean, his ankle, it's not supposed to bend that way. Everything did go well with the surgery, though, which is good. But he's out for the rest of the year, I'm pretty sure. I mean, with the way that was bad, which sucks because he was really bringing the heat with the running game, firing the whole team up on offense. The Giants have looked better than I thought they would all year, and I'm pretty sure you guys will agree with me on that. Absolutely. I know Jackson Dart was visibly upset with the injury, so hopefully they can continue what they got going. I know it's Tyrod Taylor's their other running back, right? I honestly already forgot. Tyrod Tracy.
Taylor's the quarterback.
Who also plays in New York, but for a different team.
Listen, Cam Scatabo made me forget about the other Giants running backs because of how hard he ran the ball and how good he did on my fantasy team. Which, big blow to the fantasy teams for all you fellow managers out there feeling it. But, hoping he gets a speedy recovery. Honestly, could have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. But, another one.
Closer than you think.
Closer than you think. I want the results from that poll. Because I asked Travis about it. Shout out Travis, listen to the show, appreciate it. And he picked Scatabo. So he said he'd rather have Scatabo. Yeah. I said, hey, who would you rather have, Quinshawn or Scatabo? Now, granted, he's a Notre Dame fan and a Bengals fan, so there might have been a little bit of bias there. But I'm still saying I'm right. And then, Fish, you want to take this last guy, or?
I mean, it's the other two injuries are pretty detriment to the team. Like those suck. Cam had his possible rookie of the season kind of going on. PS2, I mean, has been a lights out corner since he entered the league. This one doesn't hurt as bad. It's not crazy implications, but this is probably one of the last times that we'll see him probably play football again. Carson Wentz had his shot with the Vikings when JJ went out and performed well. Led the team, did great things with them. Unfortunately, this past week, the team just didn't overall perform well. He has been deemed out with torn labrum, dislocated shoulder, and a fractured socket in his throwing arm. So I think that this might be the last time that we see Carson probably play football. I think his time in the league is done. He's done. He got his Super Bowl. He carried the team there during the season. Nick Foles took him the rest of the way. I think it's one of those situations where I don't think you try and come back from that. I think you just go, hey, I got my money, got the ring, I did what I could. Go hang out with the family and retire.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Another thing too on this, from what I was reading, is that the Vikings training staff's coming under fire for like how bad his shoulders messed up. Now, one of the things I read too is that Carson Wentz is one of those guys who's go to you can't go no more. Like I'm going to play even if it hurts until I physically can't play anymore. But Van Ginkel also had a concussion like week 1, didn't play week 2, and then played like 8 snaps in week 3 and had a neck injury. So there's causing questions like, hey, are they, rushing their guys back? Like what's going on? I don't know how much of it's true. I mean, they were like the number 2 overall ranked team in terms of like player hospitality or whatever it was whenever they do the end of the season rankings for that stuff last year. And training staff was like one of their higher rankings. So could just be, speculation. I think it spells a little bit of trouble for the Vikings though, because their backup quarterback is an undrafted rookie. And then they had JJ listed as the third as the emergency because they're still not quite confident in him and his consistency. So JJ as fantasy owners, maybe just I'd say play him because they're not on bye this week, right?
No, the Vikings already had their bye.
Yeah. So, play him this week, see who starts, see how it goes. If not, if you're in Dynasty, don't trade him. If you're in a redraft, try to get something out of him. That's what I would say.
So, shed a little bit more light on that, JJ McCarthy. I thought he was also injured. Are they worried about his ability to play or his availability?
So, he was injured, but again, there was more speculation on how serious the injury was because of his performance. Like he had that fourth quarter comeback, I think week 1 against the Bears. And then after that, he just didn't look good. So they wanted to, say, oh, he's hurt. And I think it was just a sprain too. Something, guys normally bounce quick. Yeah. I don't know. But then he comes back and, this is the guy you took. I think he went in the first round 2 years ago before he tore his meniscus or whatever it was last year. So you took him high. He was your plan to be your new franchise quarterback because you took him so high. But now you've got him listed behind an undrafted rookie. That's just kind of where it's like, well, what's going on there for me? Like I get Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz had been, doing decently well. I mean, yeah, they lost a couple games. They blew at the Bengals over across the pond, and then they kept it close with the Eagles the week before. I think that was only a 2 or 3 point game. So they wanted to ride with the hot hand there, and give because JJ, when you really think about it, still kind of a rookie because he didn't play at all last year other than the preseason. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at their injury report now. It says Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell said that he anticipates McCarthy ankle having a full week of prep before returning to a starting role Sunday in Detroit. Oh, that's a tough game to come back to too. In Detroit on Sunday. Man, that's hammer Detroit.
Yeah. So, yeah. They're coming off the bye too, so.
Oh yeah. That's even more. But on with the news, even more than that, there's a few legendary performances that happened over the weekend. I'm going to talk first about Jonathan Taylor. He's not had a fantasy score that's been under 30 points, all but twice this year. He's having an absolutely outstanding year. Saquon Barkley finished the year last year with 15 rushing touchdowns in the entire season, and Jonathan's had 12 already. So
Jesus,
it's just.
Well, I mean, also keep that in mind that 14 extra touchdowns were all given to Jalen Hurts on the one. So
yeah, and I'm not taking anything away from Saquon. Saquon had a great year last year, and it just seems like Jonathan Taylor's blowing that out of the water. He's the only running back this season that to be responsible for 3+ touchdowns in a single game, more than 4 times this year. The rest of that list is quarterbacks, obviously, throwing the ball. He did tie Hall of Famer Earl Campbell for the 4th most rushing touchdowns by a player in their first 75 games. He passed Eric Dickerson on that list on Sunday. And he currently has the triple crown for rushing. So he has 143 carries, 850 rushing yards, and 12 rushing touchdowns. And that all is, just incredible that Jonathan Taylor, a guy that a lot of people thought has lost his spark, has found it again. I mean, we've said it time and time again on this show. The Colts are just a Cinderella story, a gem. Daniel Jones has really brought that team back, and you see it
Diamond in the rough.
Not only in the passing game, you see it in the running game. It's really spread things out. That offensive line is outstanding. So, I mean, good for Jonathan Taylor. I wish I had him in fantasy leagues. I don't have him anywhere. So
that's and we stress the importance, right, week in, week out, of how important, right? And you get to the pros, right? You're that 0.01% that has done something that billions of kids dream as, eventually making it to the pros, right? We thought the same thing with Saquon when he's with the Giants. Hey, yeah, he had a couple injuries. He's done. He's an immaculate talent, but he's done. We said the same thing with Jonathan Taylor, right? He, a couple years ago, incredible. Last year, couldn't get anything going. It's crazy what a halfway decent quarterback can bring you, right? Not only additional options, right? Because now everybody can't stack the box on a solid running back. They have to worry about the pass game. But once that develops, once you start getting going and the offense starts grooving a little bit, that confidence goes up, right? I think Jonathan has found that confidence again that he did 2, 3, 4 years ago. So it's the importance of getting these quarterbacks that really, I mean, we can blame so and so for doing this. The offensive line was ass. Offensive line gets banged. It doesn't matter who you have back there when they're rushing 12 guys. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Good luck trying to stop them. So it's good to see, obviously, the Cinderella story with the Colts and such, but good to see that Jonathan Taylor finally has the support that he needed and has been given to then kind of come with this immaculate season. I mean, we're only 8 weeks in and he's done all this. If it keeps the trend, I mean, holy shit. Are we past the time? But holy shit.
Yeah,
so it's just it's incredible what a quarterback can do. Even if Daniel Jones, it might be a system thing, right? He was kind of ass in double ass at the Giants, but it's interesting to see one player go to somewhere else and then all of a sudden that team blossoms. So it's good to see. Hopefully,
Sam Darnold last year with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not Zach Wilson, but I mean, there's a few of them. Yeah, that one guy.
Milf Hunter. Anyways, Myles Garrett also had an amazing Sunday. The Browns did obviously come up short, unfortunately, but Garrett had 5 sacks, franchise single game record. Also passed Reggie White for the most all-time sacks before the age of 30. And, that was a really good offensive line he did that against. So there was a lot of visible frustration with Myles at the end of the game, slamming his helmet. I think that he just wants to win. Obviously, he's putting it all out there. I know what these two knuckleheads over here are going to say. He should have signed the deal, all that stuff. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. So I'm going to say my piece first, and then I'll let you two say what you're going to say. So I think the reason Myles came back to Cleveland was not only obviously because of the contract. He's making quarterback money at a defensive end position. He's not even the highest paid defensive end anymore either, by the way. Mike Parsons is that guy. But when it comes to, he's loved Cleveland the whole time he's been there. He wants to break the cycle in Cleveland. He wants to be a part of that. And I think he was maybe sold some snake oil in the offseason from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. They talked about bringing Joe Flacco back. That obviously didn't work for whatever reason. Now we're seeing Joe tear up the field in Cincinnati, regardless of who he has to throw to. I mean, the scheme just wasn't right either. Like, Kevin's offense, you've got 3 guys running to the same point at some times. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I think he was promised, like, Flacco's back. Remember that 2023 stretch run we had when we made the playoffs. It's all going to be great. He's back. He's going to train the young kids. Maybe Dylan Gabriel will be a star. Maybe Shador will be a star. And it's just, his frustration is valid in my eyes. Like he's valid in his frustrations. If he was told that, you know, we might be back, because the defense is doing their part for the most part. Now their numbers are starting to dwindle because they're on the field so much, but it just sucks to see his talent be wasted like this. And that's what's happening.
I mean, Zoltaski, you want to jump in on this one?
Yeah,
or?
let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen,
Yeah, go ahead. Jump on that. Yeah, go ahead.
he's allowed to be upset that he's losing football games. 100%. It's what he loves to do. You know, he trained his whole life to be at the position he's at now. He's not allowed to be that mad, because he said that it wasn't for the money. And then they said, here's a giant fucking pile of money. And he said, okay, play football for you. He could have went anywhere else probably, because of the talent he has, because of like if you look at him analytically, he's like the top rated defensive end in the entire league. I mean, maybe Micah's close, but he's really, really, really fucking good at what he does. He could have went anywhere else and at least gotten 100 mil minimum for what he does. Somewhere that was a competitor, somewhere that wanted to win now. The Browns have been in rebuild mode. You guys have gone through, we see the meme, the quarterback jersey meme.
Yeah.
And that's since they came back to Cleveland in what, 99?
Yeah, you know,
that's when they left.
Living it, brother.
Yeah, I know you've been dealing with it. I see the jersey behind you. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me, like how you're gonna say that, and then immediately, I think it was like 3 days later, sign the contract for what, $135 million or whatever insane number it was.
Yeah, I think it's 40 million a year. I think it's what he's 40 million a year.
Yeah, and to go on the Joe Flacco point, that is, you could have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Isavas all running to the same point on the field, and Jamar Chase is going to catch the fucking ball. He's one of the best receivers in the league. Yeah, I think there's a big difference between the receiving core in Cincinnati and the receiving core in Cleveland. So I don't think it really was the scheme. It's the talent that is on the other team. Because you look at it, the week they beat Pittsburgh, Jamar had 16 catches on 23 targets. He was just throwing him the ball. I don't think he cared where he was on the field. He's like, oh, there's Jamar. Here you go. Like, it's just, I can't feel bad for the guy when you knew what you were coming into. Like, there's a lot of maybes in that situation. There's so many question marks.
Yeah, there is.
Like, you can't be like, all right, cool, I guess I'm going to be all in, and know that, well, literally 18 things have to fall into place for us to have that repeat run of 2023. And I hope it happens. You know, I sat through Megatron. I sat through Matt Stafford. The year after he leaves Detroit, wins the Super Bowl. He had the talent to do it. Mm-hmm. Detroit just didn't build around him. He had Calvin. Same thing. You throw that man the ball, he's going to catch it. He's triple covered half the time, and he still caught the damn ball. No running game, no offensive line. Defense was ass.
Right.
I lived through it at Detroit. It's the same thing. That's why Barry left. That's why Megatron left. They've literally come out. There's a whole documentary on Amazon Prime. Bye Barry. It's great. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. But the year after they made it the NFC Championship game and lost, they got rid of half their team, and he said, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm out. But he wanted to do it for Detroit. Now, Miles is young enough. I get it. Maybe you have loyalty to that city. But he's young enough to say, no, I want to fucking win. I want the ring. There's no shame in that.
Yeah, and he still can request a trade. And honestly, I think a lot of Browns fans are in the same boat with how the season's been going. Like, if he requests a trade, let him go. Like, let him be great somewhere else. Somebody's going to pick up that contract. He's worth the money. Like, he is worth that, what he's being paid. Because he can do things like 100%. This on Sunday, and then if you have any sort of offense at all, you could win the game. But we don't, so he's just being wasted. And it sucks. And even the haul that they could get for the guy, I'm not confident in that they could turn it around and do something great. I mean, people are already calling for Stefanski's job, obviously, because they're 2-6. They're calling for Andrew Barry. Well, they've been calling for him ever since the Deshaun fiasco, but I don't know, man. Like, it sucks.
Fish, you got anything to add? Sorry, I
Was it
kind
my
of.
turn? Okay, yeah, no,
Sorry.
100%. Yeah.
Oof, I blacked out for a second there.
Look, I get it, right? And I agree with both of you to a certain degree, right? I think it is a scheme thing, it is a system thing, right? If you got 12 receivers running at the same point, no shit, you're gonna have 19 corners over there that are all guarding the same guy. It doesn't make sense, right? At the caveat though, you can't say one thing because I'm pretty sure that the Lions, the Eagles, and the 49ers were all willing to go ahead and look and sign him. That were in the works to work out a trade for him because we just lost Sweat. Can you imagine Hutchinson paired up with Garrett with
Dude,
that
we were
offense?
screaming for it.
Those are teams that, and of course, Nick Bosa before he got hurt and stuff. But
Yeah.
those are teams that have high implications, high urgency to win this year and next year and the year after because we have built dynasties. The Lions, the Eagles, the 49ers to a certain degree, outside of the medical tent, they've built dynasties. Um, if that's what he wanted and that's what he kind of insinuated, that's the reason why everybody was like, "Oh yeah, hey, well, yeah, absolutely. What do you want for Garrett? A buttload of money and picks? No problem. Our teams are young enough where we can give up 9 first-round picks in the next 3 years. Don't care. That's fine. You get a defensive generational talent that can alter games. Now, you can't really say that and go, "Oh, I'm not about the money. I want to win," and then all of a sudden switch to 40 million a year sounds great. The thing that I don't like, two things, right? You knew that you guys are not one piece away. It had to be a Tom Brady, a generational quarterback to make that offense relatively decent. Jerry Jeudy had flash in the pans last year. Tillman looked good in certain degrees. You've got a running back now, which is great. You got two. Honestly, you might have three or four depending on how he runs. Um, there's so much more to that team that you guys are just missing. Not a lot of pieces what you guys used to, but some pieces, but detrimental pieces, not so much on the defense, but the offense, right? You need that leadership. You need that guy. The whole Deshaun thing, I'm sure, kind of deflated a lot of people there in that locker room.
Tons.
The other thing that I have an issue is with, I have no problem with him getting frustrated, and I get it. It's a sport you love. You're expecting to win, and you guys don't. Yada yada yada. You cannot display that kind of emotion and that kind of frustration on the sidelines. You are the guy that is the face of that organization as a leader for defense and honestly that entire locker room who just got paid. You see all these other diva receivers and diva players. They get angry. Look at the George Pickens. Look at the Tyreek Hills. They get frustrated. All of a sudden, it looks like they're quitting. It looks like they're giving up. In a situation like this where your team is in rebuild mode, right? You guys have been, but you've got nothing but young guys around you. Young running backs, young quarterbacks, 19 of them, young receivers, young tight end. The offense is missing a couple people. You got to be that veteran guy to say, "Hey guys, I know we're going through it. We've all been through it. It sucks. This is how we take this step and we learn and we try and get better each year." That's where I have a problem that he is not displaying that. I understand the frustration, but he's got to be, "Hey, you know what? Calm, cool, and collective. Guys, we'll get it together eventually. This is going to suck. We're going to ride it out as a team, as a brotherhood, and we'll move on from this." But slamming your helmet down and getting frustrated and sitting all, on the bench and being pissy and moany, you knew what you signed up for. But it's okay. When that check comes in, when you made $3 million for that one game, what are we complaining about? Because that rookie next to you just made $8,000. And guess what? He can get cut next week because the team is doing so bad, or they got a lot of their money invested in Deshaun or invested in you. Now they can't sign him. I just think as a veteran player, as a leader, as a face of this franchise, you cannot show and display that emotion. That's what I'm like. I get frustrations, but keep that in the locker room. Bring that emotion there. Don't display it when you know you have 13,000 cameras on you. It's just not a good look.
Yeah, he was asked about it after the game by the brass in Cleveland, and I think what he stated was it was a buildup of not only frustrations of losing, but he wanted to go back in and be there for his guys and try and get the sixth sack and, you know, continue on, lead by example, and they wouldn't let him go in. So obviously trying to prevent injury, but I don't know. It just it's hard to watch. And Zoltowski, I know you said the same thing about Calvin. It's hard to watch when you have a guy that's like the guy at a position and it just there's nothing around him to do anything else with. So
Yep. I remember when the Lions made it to the playoffs, lost in a wild card, and then we fired our coach that had been mostly winning. Man, it's fine. We're past that now. But just one thing, literally what he said in his letter when he put it out, the goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It has always been to compete and win for a Super Bowl. And also, like it said at one point when he commented on it that it wasn't because of the money. That was in February of this year. A month later is when he signed it with a no trade clause, by the way. So
which means he can say which team he gets traded to. But if I remember correctly, he was never saying that he wants out of Cleveland because of, Cleveland's inactivity. He wanted to meet with Kevin and he wanted to meet with Andrew Berry and he wanted to see their vision, and then he was going to make his decision. So I think that's a lot of that's getting lost in translation. I think with, I see all the memes on Twitter and TikTok. It's like, dude, you can't be that mad. You're getting paid all this money and everything like that, which is fine that people have those takes, but I don't know. I think Miles knows that there's things that he went through in his career. You talk about the helmet thing with Pittsburgh. You talk about that's really the only thing that he's had, but it kind of painted him in a light for some people that, he's just all about himself. And I don't think that's the case. I really don't, but we can move on to another topic. We've kind of lasted a long time on this one.
Really dragging that one on. It's the Cleveland's ass, and he signed a fat contract. He's making 900 times what I'm making. And guess who's angry?
You and me both.
He is. Nut, I know you have one more thing.
I'll leave it to the end.
Okay. I'll touch on mine. A couple noticeable things that might be trending in the right direction. We'll go ahead and speed through this because we talked about the Browns for 45 minutes, and I'm honestly sick and tired.
Sorry, Travis.
So, something football-wise in the SEC has permanently suspended a veteran official, Ken Williamson, following a review of multiple complaints. 9 out of 11 complaints about the calls at the UGA game were validated by the league, and they suspended him. We know that there is missed calls left and right. It's a lot different when we got 19 angles. What are we doing? It's a lot different when we got 19 angles, right? And we're saying, hey, that's definitely holding or that's definitely PI. Look, everybody's human. They're going to make mistakes. We're going to miss that PI call. It was a bang play. Didn't see. We saw it last night in the game. A couple toe touches. His body was down. They called it out. No catch, so on and so forth. But that's why we have, video review, and we go ahead and overturn that. The other interesting the caveat to this, though, it sheds a lot of light, right? And there's a sport in particular that is notorious for bad calls, missed balls, missed strikes. If anybody didn't pick up on that, it's the MLB. These guys have been doing this since they were teenagers, young guys who have studied, knows the ins and outs of the rule books. This supposedly they do tape reviews on the previous games that they do and see how many missed calls. Is it okay? Am I calling more of a ball or a strike on the outside corner? Am I missing that? Okay, so they make the adjustments there. This could actually lead into something very, very interesting where we have talked about it before in past NFL seasons where I look at the Bradbury holding call. It wasn't a holding call. Everybody in every play holds a player, right? But that one call turned and altered, in the grand scheme of things, altered a game, right? And it wasn't just a normal game. It was a Super Bowl. It was a victory. It was something to bring home back to the city. At what point, and we talked about, hey, for every missed call, you find these umpires, these refs, 5 grand. Just like if you wore pink cleats during breast cancer awareness, they used to fine the shit out of you. Even though it's a great cause you support, they used to fine you because it wasn't against dress code. We talked about this before, early in the podcast. Do we start fining them? Now it almost seems like hockey did it last week. SEC's doing it now. At what point do you go, hey, guess what? I'm gonna hit you with a lifetime ban. Have fun. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I know people make mistakes, but I mean that's 9 of 11 complaints were validated. That's not a good look.
No.
And this guy is changing kids' lives, bets, all like it's a lot of implications behind this, and now it's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah,
That's
the big one.
Sorry, go ahead.
The big one was the not a timeout. I don't know if you guys saw that, where he's Kirby Smart's on the sideline, literally going like this. Oh no, I was clapping. That official said, nope, not a timeout. Here's your timeout back. Change the game because they still got the stoppage.
That's kind of what I wanted to talk about too, Fish, was you said a word in there. It started with a G. Gambling. Sports gambling is so prevalent now. People can do it on their phones. They can do it wherever they are if it's legal in their state. Who's to say that, this Ken Williamson guy wasn't just betting on the side under a different name? Telling one of his buddies, hey, go ahead and drop this in a parlay. I'll make sure it gets done. I mean, I don't want to spew speculations out there or anything, but that's a real risk that these leagues have now when it comes to their officiating. Because I know it's this way with the NFL. I don't know if this is true for college. I think it probably is. But the referees in the NFL, that's not their full-time gig. Those guys are like lawyers. They come in. This is like their weekend job that they do. They get paid handsomely for it, but it's not their. Is that not true?
The average is $205,000 a year for an NFL referee.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
what
but
do I
I'm
sign?
saying I don't think that that's their full-time job.
I mean, if you're making $250K a year, it's probably what they're doing full time.
I don't know.
Years 1 to 3 is $150,000 to $200,000.
I'm doing 18 games. Where do I put my resume? I can make a call.
Yeah, I could make a call.
Holding on the offense, easy.
They also get performance-based bonuses.
Yes. So
take away the bonuses.
Not only take away the bonuses, put something on there like a demerit like amount. Like you get 1 missed call, you get this amount as a fine. You get 2 or 3, it's more. You get 5 or 6, it's more. You get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's start looking into this because it's getting a little fishy. You know what I mean? Like the rate of the fine should go up the more they miss calls, because that's obviously going to be. It could lead to conspiracies. Like there was that one referee in the NBA that was illegally gambling, and that's before sports gambling was even legal. So, I think that's
which college kids can now gamble.
Yes,
they can on pro sports. And the staff starting November 22nd. So that'll be fun.
Which I'd like to bring up my other point, which ironically is also in connection with gambling. News has surfaced. Kids, don't gamble. If you're going to gamble, don't do it in New York, Philly, or Jersey. Chauncey Billups, an old throwback name, good basketball player, and Terry Rozier, not that great of a basketball player, but is a name. And now Antonio Gates as well has been caught. Billups and Rozier are facing possible jail time up to 20 plus years for illegally gambling. Billups Gates, it was found in Miami to have hosted his own poker day or poker thing. Ended up rigging all the games. That's just something that additionally, obviously, you're going to have a lot of these names kind of pop up of any type of gambling issue that they're going to have. But Billups and Rozier, this is a bigger one, right? Um, Things have surfaced that Rozier has thrown games, faked injuries.
Hmm.
There's ties to the mob and mafia where they said, hey, kind of like what Nutter said, I'm going to do this parlay. They're like, okay, cool. I need you to get less than 10 points. So clips, of course, has surfaced where this guy, NBA basketball player, for 10 years, forgets how to dribble and throws up these really bad air balls. And if you guys can tell, he kind of fakes injuries often. Just want to, for everyone in the crowd, Billups has earned 106 million over his 17-year career, which doesn't seem like a lot, but this is also in the time where Timothy Mozgov wasn't getting a 4-year, $150 million deal because they just had a shit ton of money all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Rozier is a little surprising one. He has earned 160.5 million over 10 seasons. Um, this does not include any endorsement deals that he did on the side. Uh, we know that the NBA is notorious for. I mean, you got these kids coming right out of college. Uh, they're spending all this. I mean, they get their first paycheck, right? Most of them come from not great areas. All of a sudden, they see a $400,000 check come across, and you're like, awesome. And all of a sudden, your 12 uncles, your nans, everybody else is coming in. And they're like, hey, by the way, I want a little cut of that money. And I think that Netflix had a great documentary on it. Guy blew through like 260 million. The Lakers guy, Sheldon, I don't know, something like that. I have
Sheldon
to look it
Brown.
up. Blew through 200 or 160 million in 5 years. He is now bankrupt and broke.
Yeah.
Um, this is the bigger implication because now it's mafia ties. So they see jail time, 20 plus years. Neither of them. I think Billups might get nice sentencing. I think Rozier goes in the Gen Pop. Um, if he doesn't, if he doesn't tattle, which could be a big issue. But it's just something that kind of like swept the nation with, like Nutter said, all this gambling talk. I mean, it's second nature. I sit at lunch. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put a bet on this." I'm like, "What are we doing? Like, can we just talk for a minute?" It's just
Yep.
it's you see a couple of these big names. Now you see Antonio Gates. Now you're going to see a lot of these other names kind of pop up. It wouldn't surprise me if some college kids or business owners or owners of NFL teams and such also start to pop up and such. But this is something to kind of keep an eye on and kind of track the whole Billups and Rozier thing. I mean, if Rozier rats out however many mafia ties he has, or hey, that's all that guy at the club the other day. I mean, the crime mob in New York and Philly and stuff. I mean, that's a big deal. He might end up with cement shoes on. I don't know. It's not a good look. But it's just crazy to think that both those guys made over 100 million and they're doing some dumb shit like that. It doesn't make any sense. But saw something, I just wanted to bring it up. So
Yep.
I saw the mafia was
So,
actually like also paying them to sit in on poker games just because they're famous.
I mean,
yeah.
look, if Terry Rozier is your famous guy to bring into a poker game, yeah, nobody's going to notice him. You know who people would notice? Sam Cassell, because he looks like an alien. That's why. People would realize him. They
So
go,
Poker night
Sam
with
Cassell.
Terry.
so Billups's was he was luring them into the poker games and then accepting a cut. He knew they were rigged. So he was like, "Hey, yeah, come play poker over here. High rollers only at rigged games." And he was taking a cut of the winnings. That's what he was doing. So
Okay.
I um the Trailblazers haven't even fired him. He's just on leave. So he might
Is it because it's
he
not
might
tied to sports gambling specifically, or
yeah, I believe so. I don't know.
Was he going to do
But
something from jail? You can't coach or do anything from jail.
who knows if he's even gonna go to jail?
He'll probably go. Rozier is definitely going to go for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, I saw his name come across my phone and I was like, "Fuck!" Because I remember watching him and Rip Hamilton. all those guys back in the day when I actually watched basketball.
And this is probably just the tip
So-
of the iceberg, right?
Yeah,
100%.
there's gonna be so much more that comes out. The documentary is gonna be insane. Tell you what, when Netflix does it, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But no, you have one more thing. Unfortunately, it's been back-to-back weeks that we got to touch on.
Yeah, I'll let Zotaska go first real quick.
So let's ask you something else.
I already mentioned mine when we talked about the gambling.
My bad.
Yeah.
You're not keeping up.
The last thing
Sports kids can gamble.
we talked about the muscle hamster last week. This week we're going to talk about Nick Mangold. Nick Mangold, center for the New York Jets, was only 41 years old. He died from complications with kidney failure, chronic kidney failure, that was due to like some genetic stuff. You hear these people talk about, guys that they knew throughout the league. And I've heard Pat McAfee talk about it. I've heard all the Barstool guys talk about it. Nick Mangold was apparently just a ray of sunshine, and it sucks that he's gone. But R.I.P. Nick Mangold. I remember when he was on Barstool a couple times, and it's tough to hear that. I mean, Rex Ryan was on the Monday or the morning after show on ESPN, and trying to do his job, and this topic came up, and he could barely get out any sort of words, with everything that was going on. So it sucks that it happened. So rest in peace, Nick Mangold. And we will move on to the Fantasy Zeros, I guess.
More sad stuff.
More sad stuff, yeah. So
Fish, you got a list here.
Not quite as sad. So I'll let Fish go first. We'll be really quick with these. We'll get this done, and then we'll get into our heroes, and then our starts of the week, and then our pick'em. So
cool. My laundry list here. I'm gonna start off Quentin Johnston at 0 points. I mean that sucks. Early on, did incredibly well. Just hasn't found it last couple weeks. So we'll see what happens going forward. Bijan surprisingly only had like 6 fantasy points for such a stacked offense. Even with Kirk Cuddy, did he play last week or was it?
He was on the football field. I don't know if you'd call that playing.
He was on the football field.
Okay. Regardless, it sucks seeing him only get 6 points, but everybody's bound to have that. I'm going to go with McCaffrey. Both Luke and Christian, both were ass for me last week. It was tough to see Christian not get anything going. Kamara, I think Devin Neal is going to start carving into that snap percentage. Kamara, he said, yeah, you trade me, I'm going to go ahead and drink pina coladas. Great, trade him because he has done shit. He is not receiving. New quarterback over there, though, so it might be a little different. They might force feed their best players. Interesting. Debo, a guy looks like he's back on eating potato chips. Looks real sluggish out there in an offense. I know Marcus Mariota is not the best passer. I think he eclipsed 2 Guinness World Records for the longest hang time on a ball thrown to the end zone, and a little dump pass that it took 8 seconds to get back down to planet Earth. So I don't know. I think he kicked his back leg up when he threw. I don't know what any of that means, but it's not a good look. Maybe Jaden Daniels can stop crying about his injury because he was laughing a lot on the sideline. So and I'm whispering away my tears on my fantasy team. So
how many leagues did you lose in this week, man?
He's
like
on a
2.
different level.
Oh. No, like 3. I don't know. It's like everybody's a jackass, I'll tell you what. A couple kickers to announce here, though, I do want to touch on. Pinero, 49ers kicker. Wow, what an abysmal start that guy did. And Matt Gay, kicker for Washington. Didn't know he was out. I think he started him. Didn't matter.
Another guy like that, too.
One that is a little surprising with how hot this guy's been playing, Jordan Mason. Now that Aaron Jones is back, unfortunately, it just seems like a big question mark in that backfield. We thought that Jordan Mason would kind of just take the lead range, but I forgot that they are paying Aaron Jones a lot more money than they are Jordan. So that's probably going to be a timeshare until either Aaron Jones really pops off or his age kind of shows. Baker's had last down a couple weeks. They're on bye week this week, so maybe they can kind of readjust. He had 4 fantasy points. I mean, holy crap. Egbuka, also had a down week. Target shares was there, which is very, very positive, but only like 4 catches. It's a little alarming, but yeah, you know what? Everybody has a down week. They're in bye week, so maybe they go forward with that. Hollywood Brown, I do love touching on these guys here. 0 for 1 on targets. He did get a tackle for 1.5 fantasy points. So kudos to you. You had more points than you did catches. It's sad. Denver receivers. Who the hell do you start? I don't know.
You're telling me, brother.
I don't know. You can't start all three because one's going to get 10, the other three are going to get -4. So
props to Troy Franklin though for that performance at least.
Honestly, start the running backs, either of them, because that's all you need.
Harvey was
RJ Harvey. Who's the other guy? I can't remember his name. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins has been very, very consistent. He had 100 yards and like another 30 catching, so very, very good there. Krosky Merritt, if you guys don't know who that is, he gets a demerit for his performance the last few weeks. This guy's supposed to be the lead back for Washington, and I don't know if they just let him go, let him loose. He's a pass catching back. Throw him the ball. The other running back is now seen a lot more action through the air, which is very, very unfortunate, especially with Austin Eckler being out for the entire year. You expected him to they drafted him for a reason to kind of step in that role. Hasn't happened. Luther Burden, 1 for 1. Also love touching on these. 1 for 1 for -1 yard. Thanks for doing your part. Mark Andrews, yawn. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real quick. That's ridiculous.
He got hurt, by the way. Burden did. He's got a concussion.
Oh, okay, good.
So did Quinchon, but let's keep going.
Do better. Get a bigger helmet. I don't know. Bengals defense really shows how bad they are. Doesn't matter and we kind of talked about this already. You can put up 40 points. The other team's going to put up 41. So we saw it. It's bad. Jets
too.
What are we doing winning? Just take the number 1 pick and ride with it. Stop being stupid. Don't understand it. Spencer Rattler, we talked about this already, has been benched. What took so long? Tyler Show, it's your show now. Don't mess it up. I just don't understand it. Pat Fryermuth, tight end for Pittsburgh. Man, that guy sucks. Let me tell you, has been horrible. It doesn't help that they have who's the guy out there? Who's the other tight end?
They've got 7 of them. So
Washington,
John Smith,
John Smith,
Cam Hayward's little brother.
It's not good when the team puts up 25 points and you can barely suffer to get 3 catches. So a little rough there. A little IDP news. I know we talked about this other guy a couple weeks ago. Benito, Denver's linebacker. Drop him, cut him, shave him off the fantasy team. That guy has popped off for 19 points, 20 points, and has eclipsed 3 points the last 2 weeks off the bench. It was nice that Benito and Landry played against them. They combined for 3 points, while my other 2 IDPs, Brooks and Bond, combined for 40. Again, this is how important we stress on IDP situation because they're supposed to be your consistent guys getting you those points. That's 37-point difference. And it's a big. What are you laughing at, huh?
I just saw your last bullet.
Is it less than there? I can't wait to talk about that one. But we stress the importance of how good IDPs can be. That's a 37-point difference, and that's a make or break for a win for you that week. And then just a quick honorable mention for everyone out there. I know we're talking and listening here. Geno Smith. He didn't play this past week, but kind of just forecasting. He was on bye, just forecasting for the 3 interceptions they're just going to have this week. So expect to see his name at the top of the list next week. So
that's good.
That's all I got. That's all I got for losers.
Rapid fire, baby. Love it.
Love it. Irate.
Oh, yeah, I'll follow up real quick. Just want to touch on the CMC thing. Didn't really want to break up your flow because you were really starting to get there. If you shut him down, there's not much the 49ers can do right now, unfortunately. And that was shown greatly. And then also back to the IDPs. So Terrell Bernard plays for the Bills. He was cleared. Good to go. No, not questionable, nothing. 12:59, 45 seconds, like 15 seconds till kickoff. He's out. I didn't even have time for Sleeper to load to switch him out. He was still playing, but he wasn't going to start. He didn't play a single fucking snap. I was so pissed. I was so upset. So, yeah, that's rough. It's a big fat goose egg.
For my fantasy zeros, let me know if you guys have heard this before. Everyone on the Cleveland Browns that's not named Myles Garrett and does not play tight end. Everybody else.
Shout out Harry Fannin.
Sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out Harry, shout out Njoku.
I started him over Kelsey, and I don't regret it.
Boys, you know who didn't make this list this week?
Ew.
It is my fantasy hero who's usually on this list. I'm going Breece Hall.
I see what he's. Hey guys, by the way, if you listeners out there, if you didn't see that, we transitioned into the fantasy heroes.
Yes, we're at the fantasy heroes.
Good one.
Breece Hall is my fantasy hero. He was
Love it.
projected 13.62 points against a struggling Cincinnati Bengals defense, and he ended up with 34.86 points, 56% of snaps. He rushed the ball 18 times, had 133 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He did have 2 receptions for 14 yards, and Fish is correct. He also threw a touchdown to Mason Taylor in the back of the end zone to win the game. So
who's guarding Mason Taylor? Because that guy should still be running laps.
I don't know, but he was covered, and it was a great throw by Breece Hall. I'm not going to lie to
Probably
you.
it was probably their first round draft pick.
Turn around. The guy's guarding him like he's guarding him in the paint. It's the wrong sport. The guy's 6'5". Like he caught it over you, and that was it. It's not a good look. Not a good look.
It's not.
Nope.
Breece Hall, the reason he's my fantasy hero, not just because of that performance, but I really needed him to produce this week. I was missing a lot of other players, Bucky Irving being one of those, and he really, really performed well. He is and has always been needed to be more involved in this offense. The Jets offense just moves better when he's getting the volume and he's performing well. When he goes, the Jets go. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. And honestly, I think that the offense showed a lot of promise. Now, it was against a really bad Bengals defense. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but Fields has a chip on his shoulder now. You know, the owner, Woody Johnson of Johnson & Johnson, came out, said, get that guy off my field. Tyrod Taylor named him the starter. They named Tyrod Taylor the starter. JK, Tyrod is hurt. Justin Fields goes back in. That was actually actual transactions I made in the fantasy league this week, by the way. Both my quarterbacks were out on bye. I dropped somebody, picked up Tyrod, dropped Tyrod, picked up Justin Fields, and I couldn't be happier for it. But I do hope to see more of this success for fantasy purposes. And for the Jets and their fans, I know you guys want a good first-round pick, so I hope you guys just get outscored every week. So I hope we get more Breece Hall going forward that's on this list and not the other list.
That Tyrod Taylor thing, he was deemed the starter, and then 5 minutes later saying, he's got a knee problem, he's going to be probably out this week.
Yep.
And then, Justin Fields is back to being a starter. I would have been like, can we unsend the text? Hey, that's my bad. You're right, though. It's a good thing. It makes sense. We said it every week. Feed your best players. Breece, I was like, man, he looks a little sluggish. And then I realized that he just blew past the linebackers and cornerback. And I was like, oh, JK, I just can't see that well. So you got to feed your best players. The offense runs well with him. Did Wilson play?
You know, I don't know. I didn't hear much about Garrett Wilson over that.
I didn't think
game.
he played.
He did not. He's got no stat line.
Yeah.
So,
He's on. Is he on IR or is he just?
He was just listed out, and he didn't practice today either. So something to look at. Well, they're on bye, but they're on bye this upcoming week.
Yes, they are.
I like it. It's a good pick there, Nut. It just makes the most sense. Especially I was watching that play, and I'm like, hey, faked it. Just go ahead and take the yard and get out of bounds. And they threw it. And I was like, that's a little wobbly, a little low. And I forgot you have a giant mountain of a man in Mason Taylor that he could just catch it and hold on to it. So it's good. Good pick.
Well, if he had another down week, I was going to start a campaign. Feed that man or free that man. Get him out of New York. At least put him on the other New York team now that Scottibo's gone. Like, he's too good to be on the Jets if the Jets are going to be this bad.
That's why it's tough. Hey, any college kids listening, don't be the number one guy. Be a little bit above average, right? So you get drafted to a good team. And you're like, hey, I like winning and I like playing well, and not get riddled with these shit teams.
Like 80 to 90%.
Yeah,
performance.
Uncle 400. Yeah,
Keep that
it's bad.
extra percent hidden, and then when you get there, that's when you're like, by the way, surprise.
We're here to tell you, take some plays off. It's okay.
Yeah.
Zoltowski, you got another little running back going on here too.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting for this. Saquon, man, finally had a game like he was doing all last year. Projected 17.41 points, popped off for 33.4. He had 14 carries for 150 yards with 1 touchdown and 4 receptions on 5 targets for 24 yards and another tutty. It's here. It's finally had that breakout game where he finds that groove and he gets going. We talk about the Eagles run game, how it really hasn't been there. But the passing game was starting to open up. Both parts of that offense were firing on all cylinders against the Giants.
Without
Saquon,
AJ Brown.
yeah, without AJ Brown. But Saquon had a game. Hurts also threw for 4 touchdowns. I mean, if the Eagles can keep this up, they are going to be unstoppable. I mean, we saw how well it worked out for them last year. So whatever the game plan was last week, copy and paste it. Right, Fish?
Yeah, thank God we're going into this week with on a bye week. So we'll have more time to sit on it as well.
He did have to come out because he had a little bit of a groin injury scare there. Shouldn't be anything serious from what I've read. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, he's fine.
But what's his name? Tank Bigsby came in though and still had like 15 points too or something. So the depth is there.
Yeah, it's there. As long as he's not catching it as special teams and fumbling it every second he can get, he should be fine. So that's good. I'm going to touch on my guy.
Catch the ball. Yeah, go with your guy. He can catch the ball.
I'm going to touch on my guy. Just very briefly, we love tight ends. It seems like the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's been a tight end theme for our podcast, which is great. Recent years, it has not been. Usually you get your top 3, and then outside of that, it is a large margin. Oronde Gadsden? Man, should practice that one.
That's a mouthful, buddy.
It's Gadsden.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was talking about his brother, the French guy. This guy, tight end for, I almost said the Clippers, but it's the Chargers. Wrong sport. This guy is taking the reins. I don't know why it took so long for them to kind of identify him. He's projected 10 points. Actuality, he got 18.7. Doesn't seem like that big of a margin, which, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's nice to have an additional touchdown of 20 yards, but you went 5 for 5 for 77 yards and 1 touchdown in an offense where they're finally getting back to what they were. Vidal looks very, very good on the ground. He's had back-to-back weeks of being very, very successful. Lad McConkey's getting some love now. Johnston, when he's not concussed, can do things. So it's one of those situations where there's so many targets receiver-wise that you get the Lions effect. If you have Amon St. Brown or either of the running backs, you're fine. Everyone else don't get. This is a situation, but this is more of an interesting play to me where I think he's going to be the go-to guy going forward and could end up the top 5 tight end. He's taking full advantage, especially the last 3 weeks, of at least getting 75% of the snap shares. He's totaled 19 catches on 22 targets for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns in a pass-first offense. Totaling, and correct, boys, that's totaling 59 fantasy points for a tight end. I think he's a must-start going forward. I think he's made a name for himself. He's made enough scream out there to warrant a pickup in all these leagues. Honestly, I know Zoltowski loves starting 2 tight ends. I'm doing that with Ferguson and him this week. In an offense where we love to talk about safety valves, safety valve can't always be a receiver, can't always be a running back. You know who it can be? A 6'5" athletic tight end. That's not Kyle Pitts. So I like it. I started him this week in one of the leagues. I blew the guy out of the water, but it was nice to see that something actually worked out in our favor. So
wild that you have him in both the leagues we're in together.
Yeah, who scripted that? I don't know. But that's my fantasy hero. I grab him, start him. He's going to get the target share now. There's no competition behind him.
That's a great pick. Yeah, second coming of Antonio Gates. So
Without the gambling. Without the gambling.
Yeah, wait.
That we know of.
That's down the road.
There's still time. There's still time.
Still young.
Yeah, I remember his name popping. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
God, it's always cussing. It's unbelievable. We can't censor him at all. Did we get a little beeper thing?
I can't keep up.
Beep you. No, you can't. It's fine.
The whole show will just be a beep.
I wish I would have started that guy last week. Don't have him though.
But we will get into our starts of the week, and you know what? I'm going to go first to keep in theme here. I'm going with the tight end, and I'm going with Colston Loveland. Chicago is going into Cincinnati, and you know what? Listen,
You're keeping up with the trend.
I'm not trying to sound like a broken record on this show. I know I pick a lot on the Bengals. I pick a lot on the Cowboys defense. I'm going to do it one more time. And, maybe I need to start being more innovative with these. But this was just too juicy to pass up. So
Juicy.
I'm going with Colston Loveland, tight end for the Chicago Bears. Chicago goes into Cincinnati this week, take on a very much struggling Cincinnati defense. Cincinnati especially struggles against the pass. They're the second worst in the league. And they especially struggle against tight ends. Over the past 3 weeks, the Bengals have allowed 4 total touchdowns to the tight end position alone, with one monster game from Pat Freiermuth on 5 receptions. He had 5 receptions, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Colston Loveland has been a guy that, had a really rough start to the year. He had his season high snap percentage last week at 81%. Cole Komet, the Cool Komet, was out last week due to a back injury. He's a pretty big guy. That's a lot of back to injure. So he may not come back this week again. He's still questionable. And if that happens, I am absolutely throwing Colston Loveland everywhere that I have him into the lineup, whether it be tight ends, flex, anywhere I need the help. So, yeah, I mean, he's not been a crazy in the offense, 5 targets is his season high, 3 receptions, 38 yards. That's it. But he's still yet to get a touchdown. And I think that he'll get a touchdown this week against the Bengals. So his projection is 7.02. And I do think that he's going to surpass that this week coming up.
That's a good pick. I like it. I kind of don't, but I get it. I get it why you do it. It's a little stat man. I get it. I do want to say that I did call last week for my hero. He would get his touchdown, and he got his touchdown.
He did.
So
He did.
It's good. I like this.
Good job.
Zoltowski, just give me my flowers, man. That's all, man.
I clapped
I'll
for
give
you,
your flowers.
and I said, "Good job."
Give me my flowers.
What more do you want?
The Patriots offense only had to be on the field for 40 minutes for it to happen, but yeah.
He got the touchdown. Should have bet the over. Unless it means
and he got more than his projection. So, there you go.
That's a win.
Interesting pick, by the way. Sorry.
This one? Mine?
No, Nutters.
Colston?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of offense in that room.
Yeah. With the way Roman's been playing and DeAndre Swift has his resurgence, it's not a bad one. I have him. Probably keep him on the bench, though.
There's enough bad defense out there from the Bengals everybody can eat.
I get that, but I like how all 3 of us have picked flyers. And I think that the implication, right, is that as we approach more and more bye weeks, we got a couple heavy hitters, right, that are their own bye. The Eagles, the Bucks. I mean, those are high-powered offenses that high-powered offenses that
Bucks just had the blue flu, leave him alone.
I mean, it is what it is. But I'm going to go with a little flyer here, right? As we continue to go on with bye weeks, we're halfway through the season. It's sad and unfortunate, but these are the times where you need the must-win games to kind of put yourself over. I know I'm in an ESPN league where top 4 teams out of 10 go. It doesn't make any sense, right? Most of our leagues that we're in, bottom 4 go to the poop bowl because I want to censor myself like Zoltowski. And then the rest of them kind of go into the playoff situation, right? My guy is going to be a flyer, and simply because of the implication that I think he's carving into the number 1 starter's role. I'm going to go with Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears looked very, very good last week. This is a proven week for him. He's playing against the Chargers. Tennessee, this guy is the only guy on that team that is moderately producing consistently. I think Pollard, I think his time is nearing the end there. He started out hot. As of the last 3, 4 weeks, his snap percentage has been trending down. Tajay Spears just came back from injury. We knew that they would be a split, a 50-50 split, but man, he was immediately in a 50-50 split. He actually had 52% snap share, went 9 for 59 and a touchdown. But also, what Tajay Spears does really, really well is catch the ball out of the backfield, adding 23 yards, I think, on 3 reception as well. The last 3 weeks since he's been healthy and has had a decent workload, this is the highest week he's had snap share percentage wise. But average per carry, right? And he doesn't get too many too often because I think they were easing him in from the injury. But he's averaging 3 weeks ago against Vegas. It's Vegas. 6.2 yards per carry against New England, who has a good offense and a good defense, right? Averaging 4.4 yards per carry. This past week in Indy, who has a well-rounded team, he's averaging 6.6 yards per carry. I think that they're going to end up playing that hot hand. This is a test for him, though. If he succeeds here, that snap share probably goes up to 60. I think you start to see Pollard kind of dwindle out of that starting role, and then kind of looking him before the trade deadline, be a little trade bait for someone that needs possibly another backup or someone that just needs a number one to kind of fill in for now. But Tajay Spears, a flex position, it's a sneaky play. He's going to be projected low. Has good implication to pop off. Running is there, receiving is there. Looking at garbage time a lot here, but I like the Tajay Spears. It's a weird one, but I'm okay with it.
Projected 9 points, which isn't bad for RB2.
No, not bad at all.
No, I don't hate that.
And that's what this whole segment's for, right? It's for guys who are not, Bijan, DeAndre Swift, Brees Hall.
Yeah, no gimmies, right? Everybody gets a gimme.
Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one.
You
This one's definitely not a gimme.
I said Brees Hall, and he was mine a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Jordan Mason was a gimme. Okay.
Hey, Zoltowski, I think you got it.
I do. I have a guy from the same team.
Jonathan Taylor, right? Sure, gimme. Oh. Yeah, starting Jonathan Taylor here, right?
No, I wish I could. Wish I had him. No, but my start of the week, same team as Fish. Tennessee offenses kind of started to figure it out a little bit. Not really, but I mean, kind of. They're not scoring, but Chimray DK, wide receiver. Tyler Lockett, gone. Calvin Ridley, hurt. Titans are doing Titan things. But in his last 2 games, he has gone 4 for 4 for 70 yards and a touchdown and 7 for 8 for 93 yards. So that's 16 points a game against New England and then Indy, who, like Fish said, both have pretty good defenses.
Very good.
So he's starting to find his footing. He's a rookie in the struggling Titans offense. Cam Ward has been kind of shaky, but he's still going to throw the ball to him because he's got no one else to throw the ball to. Catches that up. 1 point per catch. Talk about Jamar when he had 16 catches. That's 16 points right there. Now he's not going to get that. Bye weeks are in full swing. We got the Eagles out, the Bucks out, who their roster's already decimated, but a lot of people have picked up their backups because Baker can sling the ball very well. So if you need a wide receiver, pick him up, start him. He's projected to get 8 points against the Chargers defense, who's been decent against the pass game. They've been pretty good, but you never know. They're playing at home. Maybe Cam Ward wants to win another random game, like when they blew out, who was it?
Arizona.
The Falcons? Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah,
was it Arizona?
They lost in a weird, or they won in a weird last second touchdown to Arizona.
Yeah. No, it was Houston they beat the crap out of. I think. There was one they shut them out. I think it was this year. Or maybe that was the Panthers. There's been 2 blue bad teams, all right? I don't watch them because they're bad. They're really bad. But I'm going to watch this one because I want them to score a lot of points because I have more people on by than I can imagine.
So interesting on this one, right? He is not the number 1 there. He's actually the number 2. The number 1 is his college roommate, I think, played on the same team. Remember the Titans double dipped and they got one receiver, and then the following round they got the exact his essentially his counterpart there. Can't remember the guy's name. It starts with an A. Mayor or something like that.
Alec Aomanorn.
Yeah. So
I
he's
got
the number
Sleeper pulled up.
one.
I won't lie.
Like, he is the number one there, while old man Tyler Lockett's gone, and then Calvin Ridley hurt a cuticle and he's out again. So guys chalked. Whatnot.
Are you guys okay?
What happened?
You're getting Houston and Tennessee mixed up completely.
Who?
No, I was
The
getting.
Tennessee receivers are not from the same school.
I thought they were. Weren't they?
No, that's Houston. They drafted 2
that's
receivers from Iowa State.
It's late. We started late. All right, it's
That's
fine.
what it is. Yeah. Well, this guy is number 2. Yeah.
Okay.
You double cover the number 1. So the number.
It's just like, why do we start at 9? Why do we start at 9:50? That's your fault.
All right, we'll move on to
Let's do the pick so I can go
picks
play
of
the
the
new
week.
Battlefield Battle Royale.
Can't see so well so late at night.
You're ridiculous. You stay up till 5 in the morning playing Diablo anyway.
Nah, I've maxed out my
Like-
character essentially. I'm kind of getting bored. And nobody wants to play with me. Stanford doesn't get on anymore.
Who?
The guy with the hips.
All right, first game we have Baltimore going into Miami. Rumor is Lamar's going to be back this week. It's been
Baltimore,
a rumor for
please.
the last couple weeks. So Baltimore is 8.5 points, 8.5 point favorites on the road. I'm also going Baltimore. I know
Baltimore.
The Dolphins kind of recaptured something last week, but I don't think it's going to stick.
They're going to feed a chain, but it's not going to be enough.
Next game, we have Chicago going into Cincinnati. Chicago 2.5 point favorites on the road. This is the highest over-under of the week at 52.5 points. Give me Chicago.
Bears.
Yeah.
Are you also going Chicago Fish?
Give me the Bengals.
Oh, shoot.
Control Z.
I got it.
Alt F4.
Next one, we have Minnesota going into Detroit. Detroit 8.5 point favorites.
It's just
Obviously, this is a layup. Give me Detroit.
The Lions.
Give me.
This next game, we have Green Bay hosting Carolina. Green Bay is 12.5 point favorites.
Jesus.
Damn. Space Chubba Hubbard's back. That's why. Cutting out Rico Dowdle's usage. Hey, give me Green Bay.
Yeah, give me Green Bay. And then we have the Tennessee Titans hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Another game we just talked about. Chargers 9.5 point favorites. I'm obviously going Chargers here. There's all
Chargers,
pretty
please.
well-sided matchups this week.
Looks like it.
Oh, we said that last week.
No, last week there were some good matchups. This week it's all,
Last week didn't go so well.
for some of us. Some of us it went pretty well.
Yeah, how's the overall standings going, Nut?
We're climbing.
Can you hear us from all the way down there?
We're climbing.
Even with you
next
guys
game-
messing up the week before, he's still in last place.
Damn.
The next game we have Atlanta going into New England. New England is 6.5 point favorites at home. Drake May is just too hot right now to pick anybody else that goes up against New England, so I'm going New England here.
Yep.
I agree with that.
And I'm pretty sure Penix is still out too.
I
he was
haven't
missing
heard
2
that. He
weeks.
might be. Next we have San Fran going into New York to play the Giants. San Fran is 2.5 point favorites. New York missing Scatterbo. I think that's going to be really hard for them to come back from. I'm going to go with San Fran.
Same. Christian McCaffrey's going to have 30 points.
Yep. Give me San Fran. Now, if Sagabo wouldn't have gotten hurt, I would have picked the Giants. But that's just a big part of your team to lose.
Yeah, it is. We have Indy going into Pittsburgh. Indy is 3.5 point favorites on the road.
Indy. I think this one's gonna be
Indy.
close, but I take Indy.
I think this one's going to be close too, but I do take Indy as well.
Taylor's way too hot right now.
Daniel Jones too. I mean, Indy as a whole is just playing
It's good to see Michael
great
Pittman actually
football.
being used.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks great this year.
It took 6 years.
He's
You
tied
get a
his
quarterback.
season record for touchdowns already.
You get a quarterback that can throw the ball accurate. It's wild what can happen.
Browns and Eagles on a bye this week.
Take Eagles.
Take the Eagles.
Next game
The
we
Browns
have,
Browns are losing the bye week.
the last game for Sunday we have going in, or for the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday, Denver going into Houston. Houston is surprisingly 1.5 point favorites here. I do not think that that's going to prevail, even if they do miss out on, PS2. I think that the Broncos are still going to be able to pull this out. So I'm going Denver.
I think this one's going to be a close one, too. It's just dependent on if Nico Collins plays or not. It looks like Woody Marks is finally getting the reins back there at the RB1 spot over Nick Chubb. So could be some implications there for fantasy-wise, but Denver's just way too hot right now.
Zoltowski taking Denver
Yep.
as well.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Next, we have the 4 o'clock games. The first one of those, New Orleans is going into Los Angeles to play the Chargers, or the Rams, excuse me. Rams are 13.5 point favorites.
Jesus.
Give me the Rams. Unless Tyler Show is just an amazing player. But
I don't even think that would matter.
or I'm sorry, I skipped a game. Anyways, we'll go back to
You
that.
sure did.
We'll go Rams.
Hey,
here.
I'll with the Rams coming off a bye. Puka should be back. Should be okay.
Yeah, Puka's projected to be back, so.
Sorry, the game I glazed over here is just going to be a snooze fest. I do fear. Jacksonville going into Vegas. Jacksonville 3.5 point favorites. Give me Jacksonville. I don't see anything going on with the Raiders to tell me otherwise. So
Fish says 3 Geno Smith interceptions, so.
At least start the defense. I do want to say something about the Jags, though. They are looking, I don't know if it's true or not, but they're looking to get trade implications for Brian Thomas Jr. After an incredible year last year. It looks like that they're, for some reason, done with him. I don't know what's going on, but that's the case. They are, and they have come out and said that they're trying to get Travis Hunter the number 1 wide receiver spot, so they're going to try and force feed him the next few weeks to see if he can handle the load. So fantasy wise, just want to make everybody aware. It might be something to look forward to if Travis Hunter hasn't been getting a lot receiving wise in some of those deeper leagues. He might actually still be out there if you don't have a dynasty. So it might be a little sneaky play, especially if they're moving away from Brian Thomas III.
So the rumor was that they were listening to trade calls, but then yesterday Liam Cohen came out and said that no, there's no plans to move on from him at all. So
yeah, I don't see why they would trade BTJ.
You've seen weirder things. I've seen people say, "Oh, I'm not in it for the money," and then take a fat contract. So beats me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be anyone on my team.
Oh, I can't wait till this show's over.
Super Bowl
we have
winners.
Kansas City going into Buffalo. Kansas City 1.5 point favorites. Buffalo.
This is the most interesting game on this list.
Yes.
Yep.
It is.
Josh Allen cannot beat Patty Mahomes. I think this is the statement game. If he can beat him, this could. I mean, I think that it's the Red Sox and the Yankees, right? The Babe Ruth curse. They finally broke that curse in 2004. That kind of implication. It's what this game has. For that reason, give me Kansas City.
I'm also going Kansas City.
They're not stopping Rashee Rice. They're not doing it. They're doing everything in their power to get that man the ball, and it's working.
yeah, give me the Bills. Thank you. They always beat him in the regular season, and then it's the playoffs when they shit the bed. They beat him in the regular season last year, and then lost the playoffs.
This is it.
Because everyone was like, "Oh, this is the year we beat the Chiefs. This is the year we take back the AFC," and then they lost in the playoffs.
Oh, Travis Swift looked pretty good this past week. So
He did. He remembered how to catch the ball.
Well,
he can't remember how to run though. It's like the last 3 times he's had the ball, he's just tripped on himself.
Well, he's carrying around that big piece of wood.
Excuse
apparently.
me. Oh,
No, the song. She came out with he's got some wood attached to his body. He's got to carry around. The wood's heavy.
All I'm saying is that he is another week where a ball went off his hands and into the opposing team's player's hands. So,
Hey,
Patty Mahomes
as long
is
as they don't
good.
count it against him, well, I needed the Patty Mahomes, not interception.
Sunday Night Football, we have Seattle going into Washington. God, I just forgot their name. Seattle is 2.5-point favorites. Am I okay?
The Commanders, not the other one. You can't say that anymore.
I said Commanders, didn't I?
We'll say it offline.
Seattle versus the Commies. We got Seattle 2.5-point favorites.
Whoa!
On the road, I am going Seattle.
Seattle is projected, I think, 25 points this week. So
they're going from Washington to Washington.
Sam Darnold's still holding on to that lightning that he caught last year, man. He looks good.
And then last game, we have just an absolute barn burner for Monday night. We have Arizona going into Dallas. Dallas 2.5-point favorites. This is the highest over-under of the week at 54.5. Give me Dallas. I don't see anyone that's stopping that offense on their defense.
Give me Dallas.
We said it last week, right? I don't want to beat Ride, but that offense is just way too good. It's got to be Dallas. The Cardinals are so bad. So bad.
Yeah. Remember when they made the Super Bowl like 17 years ago?
When
they had Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. And Kurt Warner. Bagging groceries at the Hy-Vee.
But that's our picks this week. If you agree or disagree, we only have 1 week or 2 weeks where we disagree. So, yeah, pretty lopsided matchups this week, unfortunately. But that's all we have. Always CGG. Thanks for being a gent. We will see you guys next time. The Friday shows will come back at some point. It's been, hard to manage 2 shows, going to be honest with you. So, not sure when they'll be back. We'll tell you on the Wednesday show when you'll have a Friday show. But this week is not one of those weeks. So, we do appreciate you guys listening and watching. And, as always, tell your friends, tell your family about us. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.